we had intended to start this live stream event, which is going out to our other platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the usual suspects. So we had some issues with the new program. We just used to do that to stream all of the social media platforms that we have. So, but we've got the kinks worked out. I have Steve Agnelli here with me. Steve is the chair of our board of directors. So I want to welcome Steve. Steve will also give you a quick rundown of who he is. He serves in the United States Air Force. So Steve, take it away. Tell them who you are and your rank and all that good information.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, John. Thank you very much for the intro there. As John earlier mentioned, my name is Stephen Agnelli. I am the chairman of the board of United Soldiers and Sailors of America. Very pleased to join the board. I've been volunteering with the organization now for every bit of 4 years now, a little bit over 4 years. John and I first met. I think it's actually going on 5 years now, believe it or not. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
So, as John mentioned, he's going to tell you a lot about our programs. I'm in the Air National Guard, actually, have been for the past 12 years, did 4 years active duty service. And I'm pleased to be here and pleased to be a part of United Soldiers and Sailors of America. Thank you for the time.
Absolutely, Steve. We're glad to have you as well. Absolutely, Steve. We're glad to have bring a lot to the table, and you bring a lot to the table to the organization. We look forward to many more successful years supporting our military, our service members, veterans as well. The purpose for us getting online via doing these live streams is to begin to create more awareness about our organization and what it is we actually do. Just as a brief intro to a lot of folks who don't know who we are or may have heard about us, we are a 501c3 veteran and military service organization, and we're also a charity. Many of the programs and services that we offer to military and service members and to veterans meet the everyday challenges that they face, whether they're serving our country or have served and need our help. So we're going to really go through basically the programs that we do offer in a way to that will not only let everybody understand what it is and hopefully networking as well, but to get the word out about our services, that's that case service member, family, or a veteran needs our help, you'll know where to go. So that's very important to us to get the word out about what it is we actually do. We actually started the organization back in 2012. We were actually operating a full year prior to receiving our 501c3 status from the Internal Revenue Service a year later, 2013. So, you do the math for 8-9 years in, and we've had a very successful go at it, and we are looking to augment our programs and services, again, to meet those challenges, ever-changing challenges as well. Some of the things that we'll go over as well have to do with mental health, suicide prevention, which is unfortunately suicides in both the veteran and military community are on the rise. We deal directly, Steve will talk about this as well, we deal directly with homeless, at-risk and elderly vets who face hunger every day. We are located, by the way, in Washington, D.C. Our office is on Capitol Hill. We're approximately about 3 blocks away from the actual Capitol building itself. And we do veteran advocacy and military advocacy as well. So, a lot of our programs, people say, well, what makes you different? I don't think that's the question to be asking. I don't think we need to worry about, why we are different as opposed to another organization. A lot of really good organizations are out there working locally in their own communities, taking care of veterans and service members every single day. There's just thousands of them that you'll never hear about, and that's unfortunate because they have that direct impact on a local level, meeting veterans where they live. And so, it's important to do these sort of live streams through using social media for the good, number one, to get the word out about the good work that's actually out there. We seem to hear nothing but negativity on social media, who struck who and all this other nonsense, when the most important things that we face, can actually, technology can actually help us bring them into the light and actually help to rectify the challenges. Not only that our veterans and service members and their families, but also the American general. So, again, that's a conversation over time. But we're grateful to have the ability to reach out to everyone listening, to explain who we are, what we do, and how you can help us as well get the word out about our organization. And we also highlight other organizations as well. Love partnering with veteran service organizations, churches, places of worship, all that. So I think what we'd like to start with is really, and again, bear with us with this new platform as a precursor to who we are. We partner with CBS. Locally here, it's Channel 9, WUSA, Channel 9 here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And they highlighted our organization, and they've actually done a really good job at explaining who we are. And actually, let me see if I can share this video with you right now. So bear with me here, folks.
Hard at work today of your donation. United Soldiers and Sailors of America, based in Southeast D.C. This evening, the staff and volunteers were packing winter survival kits to give to homeless vets across the region. Sleeping bags and sweatshirts and toiletries and food. But this group works on behalf of veterans all year round.
And we focus on the daily needs of veterans and those veterans who sort of fall through the cracks. So maybe they didn't get their VA check, maybe they didn't get some other subsidy that they're looking forward to, but this is a way we can help pay their electric bill, we can help pay their heating bill, we can help with daily supplies that they need.
If you want to help, it's simple. You go to their website, USASOA.org, and they take those donations 365 days a year.
So I hope you were able to hear that. Again, we're working the kinks out on this new platform. But that was one of the episodes that they did with us, I believe, a couple years ago with what we do is our winter survival kits for homeless vets. I guess that's a really good place to start, Steve, is talk about that program that's so important to us. It's probably the hallmark, the flagship of our organization is our homeless veterans outreach program, and that program itself encapsulates many other campaigns because of the problem of veteran homelessness or vets that are at risk, elderly vets, is manifold. I mean, that it is an enormous undertaking. There is a myriad of reasons as to why it happens. What we try to do is basically remedy the situation by bringing them food, bringing them the essentials of life, that sort of thing. And Steve, you could actually talk about that too. We hold our monthly food drives. Hold our monthly food drives. We do our outreach programs. We go into the streets. We have approximately 500 homeless vets living. Excuse me, folks. Living in the streets in DC, in the parks, all around Washington. All you have to do is, if you're from DC, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's tents everywhere. And so we have about 500 vets that are actually out there. We also service, we have 3 VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, transitional housing units locally here in Washington, D.C. and Southeast Washington that we bring food and essentials to help those guys that are off the streets to acclimate themselves back to getting a job, getting a life back again. So it's important that we support them in that aspect, to lift them back up and say, hey, we're here for you. We're going to do everything we can. And we're also going to, by doing that, hopefully raise awareness. Steve, you can actually talk a little bit about how we do that with our food drives and how we've come through COVID. Also, that's very important. You alluded to that yesterday when you did the live feed on Facebook as well. So, we didn't shutter. So I'll let you take that, talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, once again, good evening, everybody. Thank you, John. I'd love to talk about that. Like I said earlier, I've been involved with United Soldiers and Sailors now for 5 years. I have to think about, I have to count exactly how many years it's been. It's been quite a while, and it's been a blast on how we evolved. We think back to the pre-COVID environment, our normal, right? Hopefully we'll get there. We're working good on getting there. We're almost there. But we had to think of new creative ways and innovative ways to get out there, because we still have a mission that we have to accomplish. As John was talking about earlier on, is that there's still folks out on the streets that are homeless right now. DC is still facing a huge homeless crisis, if you would, with veterans being on the street. No veteran should be left behind, and no veteran should have to starve ever. So with when COVID hit back in March, I actually came back from Europe. I'm military. I came back from Europe in February, when COVID was a thing over there. In March, we kind of got into COVID. April's really things started picking up in 2020, and we got together as an organization. And John had this, he's got this great vision, and that he's like, no, we just can't sit back and watch this continue to develop. We just saw our needs increase. There was still the problem of homelessness. There was still veterans still living on the street that needed help. People needed support. There was people getting evicted, from their houses. The governor of Maryland and the mayor of DC and the governor of Virginia did a great job of putting a plan together to try to help out some of those people being evicted. But what happened in those earlier months, when COVID kicked off, there was people getting, evicted out of their apartments, and a lot of those were veterans. As John hinted earlier on, he talked about those transitional housing units that we have right here in the DC area that are able to give the support and a roof over their head, if you would, to those veterans that really truly need that hand up. Like I spoke about briefly yesterday on our abbreviated Facebook Live event yesterday. So what we did about, this was actually during COVID. I want to say this was probably June or July. We followed at the time, we followed all CDC guidelines that were established, to make sure we were doing it safe. We went out, we wore our masks, we went up to the VA transitional houses, and many of the veterans were actually home at their house, standing outside, and they were so appreciative of the care packages that we provided to them. Their eyes actually just lit up, and they actually put a smile. There was smiles on their faces, and they couldn't believe we were there offering assistance. And as John mentioned earlier on, a lot of us in this organization are former military, and kind of that's our duty. That's our calling. When we serve, we take that oath of enlistment to support and defend our Constitution. And why aren't we taking care of our brothers and sisters right now? So it's just great to see the look on their faces. You should see the folks at the VA, at the homeless shelter. They actually rely on us. John gets a call every month if we don't show up on a monthly basis. John's phone rings from the director of the Department of Veteran Affairs and says, "Hey, when are you guys coming back down? Our pantry is empty right now." We literally go in there with, I fill up my minivan. John sometimes fills up his van, depending upon how successful we are at these food drives. We get that cart out, and it takes about 15 to 20 carts to get this food actually inside, the pantry. And once it's in there, like I alluded to, like I spoke about earlier on yesterday, is that just this food does not last very long at all, folks. That's why we have those monthly food drives. That's why we rely on our volunteers to help out. Our volunteers are the ones that get things done, and our gracious donors out there as well too. So there's plenty of different ways in which you could help. If we have I talked about it yesterday. I'm going to talk about it again today because I got your attention. Is we're having a weekend of service this weekend, and it's going to kick off on Saturday. We're going to get together, as I spoke about, Navy midshipmen. There's a lot of West Point cadets that are in the area visiting family for the summertime while they're kind of at a hiatus, at a break. They're going to be coming out and helping us. We're going to put together these care packages, and we're just going to have a good time. We're going to work hard. We're going to play hard. And then once those care packages are assembled and put together at our office there in DC that are a couple blocks away from the Capitol, we're going to go back out to those transitional housings as we did in May and June when COVID was going on, and probably unfortunately see those same veterans. Hopefully we don't. But those same veterans are still going to be in those houses, looking for assistance. And I will tell you, a lot of them do actually remember us. We've been by several times, and they remember us. They remember our faces, and they just say thank you. What can we do for you? And I'm like, we don't want anything to be done for us. We're doing this out of the goodness of our heart. That's what this foundation was created out of. We just want to give back, and we want to help those veterans out in need. And we look forward to doing that this weekend with our monthly food drive. So like I said, we really, when COVID really started getting really bad, John had this vision of doing these monthly drive-up food drives in which people can they don't even have to get out of their car. Our volunteers can go right to their cars and take out their food donations and place them on a table. We've had great partnership from a lot of different folks. Channel 9 News has been fantastic. We've had, Knights of Columbus has been very supportive. The chapter there in Bethesda, Maryland has been supportive. And Christ Church in Accokeek, Maryland with Father Brian. I can't mention his name enough and the gracious congregation there. So myself and John don't do it. We do it as a whole organization. It's because of our volunteers, our donors, the people that offer the space to us. It's all made possible because of people like you. It doesn't happen just because John and I are on the board and we do this. It's one team, one fight here, as I like to say in the military. So there's plenty of ways that you can help. I mentioned the Amazon online food bank as well. That's there. So if you have an Amazon account, log in, and there's many items that can be purchased from there from the comfort of your own home. You can log in. Once you order that food, that gets directly sent to our office, and then we incorporate that food into when we go out to the VA homeless shelter and deliver that food. So that food will be delivered directly to the homeless shelter. It's basically food to mouth here. So we get that food in, and it goes directly out to those veterans that need your help. So we want to thank you, donors, volunteers, because this organization would not be possible without folks like you. So thank you for your time, and thank you for tuning in this evening.
Yeah, that's great, Steve, because it kind of gives a really good, clear synopsis of what it is. One of our programs, like I said, our flagship program, our homeless veterans outreach program. And again, that program itself encapsulates several campaigns underneath of it, which again is our monthly food drive. We've been holding Giant Food has sponsored us over the years. They've been terrific. I have one story about that down in Annapolis. As everybody knows, the Naval Academy's there. It's a huge military presence there. A lot of veterans as well. And what we do is we've set up our table and our flags and hand out a little postcard. And one side tells them who we are, and on the flip side, it has a list. And the list contains anything from soup to microwavable food, toiletries, that sort of thing. So we hand them the card and we say, hey, when you go in, if possible, can you buy one or even several of the items that are on this card? And when you leave, just drop them off here to our table. Well, I had this older gentleman, and he said, oh yeah, no problem. Sometimes you just take people for their word, that's all you can do, right? And so he comes back out, and he's saying, we've done very well there, by the way. Giant's been great. And he comes back out, he has a shopping cart And I think, well, he's just going to hand us something off, right? He hands us the entire cart. And he goes, here, you just make sure they eat well tonight. I was like, wow, you know, I mean, and he took one thing, the one thing he was going in for. His wife had sent him for eggs or something like that. And he ends up with this huge cart of food. And it was just, I mean, it's really heartwarming to see how people respond. If you put it in front of them, you have to create the awareness. But along with the awareness, you also have to create the program to satisfy the need that you're raising, again, the awareness for, if you follow my drift here. So it's one thing to raise awareness, it's another to help solve or remedy the situation at hand. So if you combine those two things together, that's what makes our programs really successful. And we had to call them grassroots because we call that program Boots on the Ground for that exact reason. It's a grassroots program. We go door to door. We've done that since 2012 with the Boots on the Ground collection drive. Basically, we'll take a flyer. And again, on one side of the flyer says who we are, what we're doing. The flip side has a list of the items. And we go to a neighborhood, kind of like map out a neighborhood in DC and say, okay, we're going to hit 500 homes with flyers on Thursday night. And on the flyer itself, it tells them, hey, we're coming back on Saturday, like between 10 and 12, something like that. And we give them a little door hanger with the American flag on it. Say, hey, if you have anything to donate, all you got to do, take that door hanger, put it on your exterior of your door, and we'll know to knock to collect it. That has been huge over the years. It's easy because people will literally go right into their kitchen cabinet, grab rice, grab spaghetti, whatever it is they have, you know, canned corn, doesn't matter. And so over the years, we've worked with Walter Reed National Military Medical Center up in Bethesda. We actually started, this gives you an idea of how long we've been doing this. We actually started when Walter Reed Military Hospital was in Washington, D.C. on Georgia Avenue. And I remember being there back in 2010 now. And it was a fiasco, 2010-11, right before everything broke loose about, you know, the conditions that were there. No one expected us to have so many injuries, so many guys and gals coming back with combat wounds due to IED, basically explosions and things like that. So the onslaught of buses were just coming from Andrews Air Force Base constantly, 2-3 a day, just bring them back home. And there was just no room, literally no room. No one expected this. No one anticipated it. You know, we had just gone, previous to that, we'd gone through the Gulf War. You know, that was pretty much a song for the most part. We figured this was going to be the same way. We were not prepared. It was a mess. I mean, I'll never forget that, just seeing ceiling tiles, mold on walls, just gurneys with guys laying on them, you know, bloody gauze everywhere, and nurses and doctors running around like crazy. They weren't expecting it. They weren't prepared for it. And I think it was NBC News who had done the expose and broke it loose. And that's when there was an outrage, not only in Congress, but also rightfully among the American people. And things got fixed pretty quick, which they should have been done. So we started back then. I remember seeing everything that was the need that was there. The American Red Cross station was nothing more than a closet, literally a closet. And that's when we started the organization because of that need. A friend of mine, Navy veteran, Chris McDonald, and I, Chris was actually stationed there. He was finishing up his contract with the Navy, and he was stationed at the hospital there. And so I ran into him, and I said, hey, this is crazy. What's going on? We need to do something. You know, I'm walking down one of the hallways, and I could kind of see out of my left eye. And I'm like, this is crazy, just not being able to, you see these guys just like, again, laying, I cannot even, Hollywood couldn't do it justice. Seriously, folks, they could not do it justice because of the condition everything was in. And Chris was like, you know, we got to do something. So, you know, we put our heads together, and Chris and I knew some bar owners in DC, and we said, hey, you know what, let's put some flyers out. Let's talk to these bar owners and say, hey, if somebody brings an item that Walter Reed, that the American Red Cross needed. It could be toiletries, it could be bottled water, snacks, food, whatever they needed, because they were out of everything. And so the bartenders were like, yeah, let's do it. So they had happy hour. And if you brought in one of the items on the list that the Red Cross gave us a list, hey, this is the stuff we need, then you get a free drink. So who wouldn't do that, right? I mean, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So one thing led into another, and Chris and I decided, hey, you know, the need here is immense. There's other organizations out there helping. Wounded Warrior Project, can't say enough about them guys. They were there. They were busting their butts, man. They were just all over the place helping out, and as well as so many other great organizations. AMVETS, you name it, American Legion, VFW. But nobody was prepared for this. No one was prepared for what was going to happen. And well, what was going to happen on stateside, rather, with all the wounded coming back. So that's how we kind of started, you know, and it just augmented to the other challenges that service members and veterans face. So before we get too long on here, I want to actually go through, and I invite everybody to go right up here to USASOA.org. It's United Soldiers and Sailors of America. Click on our programs and services. You'll see everything that we do provide. And the purpose of what we'll be doing from now on are these live feeds on all of our social media platforms, is just so that no matter where you are in the country, you know what we offer. And that if you know a vet or a service member who needs help and we're able to do it, contact us. So this is a very important way to network out into the community, the veteran community, the military community. So we try to do the best we can. If we can't help you, we're going to send you to somebody that can. That's why we like partnering with other organizations, because while a lot of organizations kind of overlap, you know, their programs and services, everybody has their own little way of doing it. And yeah, we got over 20 million veterans alone in this country. So people are going to gravitate more toward an organization that they feel comfortable with, or that they like, or like being around. So you just can't have enough, you know, in my opinion, of people out there trying to satisfy the needs that are many. And so again, just go to our website, USASOA.org, and you can see a lot of the programs and services that we offer. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this here, folks, but again, this is one of our, this was actually one of our food drives that we held at Christ Church in Accokeek, Maryland. And again, as Steve said, Father Brian is fantastic. I mean, he is a great, not only a great man of God, but I'm telling you, you ever listen to one of his sermons, you're hooked. And the guys, he's just fantastic. And the congregation is truly a family. It truly is a family, and I'm really grateful to be a part of that. We do these monthly food drives in churches, places of worship, businesses. Offices can do this. Yeah, we can help you do that. We can help you no matter where you are. You know, if you own a store, we can help you do that, do one of these fundraisers. And we're not necessarily looking for money, quite honestly. We're looking for food. So we can help you organize a boots on the ground wherever you are, whether it's your office, place of business, whatever it might be. So, you know, we're just really kind of grateful and have the opportunity to serve so many veterans who really need our help. And especially with our, again, seeing our End Veteran Homelessness Initiative, this is one of the things we'll be working on as well. Here in DC, we have about 500 actual homeless vets living on the streets. And we have approximately 1,500 elderly vets who are food insecure, meaning that toward the end, the middle to the end of the month, they lack food. So a lot of our food drives go both to the streets, they go to the transitional housing units, and they go to the VA resource center that has social workers that take the food that you provide, that we send, and they take it to the elderly vets, so that, you know, you have the satisfaction, self-satisfaction of knowing the food you're donating, the essentials, toiletries, even clothing, but especially the food that hungry vets are eating that night because of it. So it's just a tremendous, I can't tell you what a tremendous opportunity it is to have such a direct, meaningful impact on their lives. And so that's one of, again, I kind of emphasize that because there is such a problem in this country. It is a national tragedy that we have. It's a stain on our country that we have veterans living in the streets. And we really need to galvanize the American people to end it. And we can do it. We can actually do it. And we'll help anybody, any organization will help, any group, again, any church that wants to help out, that wants to put on a food drive, get in touch with us. Again, go there, USASOA.org, contact us. That would be tremendous. We can all take it then. We know not, as Steve said last night, we're not going to be able to cure all the ills. We just can't. We can't end hunger, but that doesn't mean we don't try to do our part and also raise the awareness, but to bring everybody else into it. So from there, again, folks, I spent a little bit more time on that than I should have, but it's very important. What we also have too is our, and I'm going to put it back up here for us, is our Operation Reboot, our peer-to-peer. Since it's basically our response to suicide or suicide prevention program, and this Operation Reboot's been around since 2018, and we meet on a monthly basis. And basically, what we do is we gather together, we figure it out, you know, what works and doesn't work. And again, there's a lot of organizations out there providing suicide prevention programs. There's Irreverent Warriors and their Silky Spikes. We've been a part of that. Our organization has supported them from the beginning. We go out, we volunteer with them, we help them logistically with whatever they need. 1 year we did, 2 or 3 years ago, we did the evac van for guys that couldn't do the entire hike. You know, we're just there for them 100%. We're there for any organization 100% that, you know, wants to make a dent, you know, and try to hopefully meet the challenges that so many of our veterans, and don't forget, you know, our military also, there's a big issue with suicide in active duty military as well. So our Operation Reboot, we call it Together We're Stronger. What we figured out is we tried to address the entire human dynamic, and that includes mental health, physical health. And one aspect, I think one factor that we leave out, since we are a secular society, as we leave out the spiritual aspect. And there's 3 parts, you know, again, of the human dynamic. We are spiritual, we are physical, we're also, you know, we have the mental capability. So we try to address all 3 of those with providing, as it says, you know, life-affirming, therapeutic, and recreational activities. On that note, I think I lost Steve here too, but on that note, we also like to, we did a survey, and we found out that with over the years working with homeless vets and at-risk vets, once their critical need has been satisfied, the second thing that they gravitate to, or what they look for, is recreation. And in that, I mean, they're looking for what they used to have in the military: the camaraderie, the fellowship, the purpose of life. So we try to provide that as a sense of total well-being of the person by providing them, again, we like partnering with Give an Hour, which is a nonprofit organization, again, that provides mental health professionals, therapists, psychologists, free of charge. So we embed them into our organization, and they are at our monthly meetings. Generally, we hold them on the rooftop patio of our DC office, and it's just beautiful, overlooking downtown Washington. It's a great atmosphere. We provide music, food, drink. It's all free of charge. No one pays, no vet or service member pays a dime for our organization's programs or services. And they get together and talk, and again, a lot of fellowship. We actually will be, now that we're post-COVID, we intend to do more recreational activities, fishing, hiking, things like that, whatever the group wants to do. And again, supporting groups like this, getting vets out that would normally not go to the VA for help or shy away from a clinical aspect of getting help is important, because we want to. One of the many problems with PTSD is what we call isolation. They just hide. They just don't want anything to do with anybody. They just want to stay by themselves, and it's very destructive. As human beings, we're social creatures. So by getting them out with other veterans and service members, and this is open to service members as well, every age and period of service, what that does is allow them to talk about their shared experiences, and that's why we call it peer-to-peer, because veterans supporting veterans is extremely important. Who else knows better than the veteran, especially a combat vet, of what's happened, while you were serving in Afghanistan, Iraq, or wherever it was. And it doesn't necessarily have to be combat related. It also could be service related. Sexual trauma in the military, huge problem, and that's been an enormous problem that we've had as well, and we also try to address that. So that's again one of the other programs that we do provide. Again, there's great other organizations we want to highlight. I just talked to James from Refit. Great guy up in New Jersey, and they're doing tremendous work. And they have actually opened up to service members and first responders, police officers, firefighters, all first responders. So that's been kind of he's a great guy. Look for them. It's called Project Refit. Again, Reverend Warriors, look for those guys. Also, you want to, if you're local here or not, actually, it's American Freedom Fund Outdoors, the Patriots softball team. The whole point here is there's a lot out there that you can take advantage of. And but we have to get the word out that these organizations exist, both on a national level, but also on a local level. So I just got word here that Steve has been knocked off. I'm trying to bring him back in, but I can't seem to find him. So again, bear with us here, folks, for a little bit. I'll see if I can get Steve back with us. And here he is. Okay, show him stream. He should be back. There he is. Steve, you back again? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks. You gotta love technology.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure you were listening. We were just talking about Operation Reboot, and how that we address the total human dynamic, what makes us human, both the mental, physical, and the spiritual aspect. And as you can look now, I just put another one up. What we're finding out too is the close proximity of veteran homelessness, veteran hunger, food insecurity, as it's saying up there. How close that's clearly aligned with veteran and military suicide. Because you lose all hope. If you're hungry, you're homeless. That has a dramatic impact on the human psyche, and it goes into the human, even physically, it has that, obviously has that impact, that negative impact. So there is that close proximity between homelessness, veteran homelessness, PTSD, and hunger, and with suicide. And so you want to grab these guys and gals before they sink so low or go down that dark path that you can't bring them back again. So it's all about prevention, but it's about offering programs. And again, so many great organizations other than ours too. The AMVETS is fantastic too, with their program for veterans. All of them out there just doing great work. So we're really honored to partner with any organization like that. So we do look for the mental, physical, and spiritual well-being, and hopefully we will have a chaplain soon for our organization. Steve's already talked about Father Brian. We're hoping maybe he will be, will take up that role. We don't know. We'll see. If you want to learn more about Operation Reboot, again, go up here to USASOA.org, click programs and services. Our next one is Saturday, July 24th. It's from 6 to 9. So if you're in the DC area, please, you're a vet, service member, please attend. There's a sign-up sheet on our website. Just go ahead and do that. It's under events. Please sign up and attend. What we'll do too is I'm going to let Steve talk for a second here too about what happened in January. The entire nation was shocked when we saw our Capitol, our halls of Congress, basically invaded, and police officers hurt, fatally hurt, and so our organization was called in to help, along with we were there with who was it, Steve? It was not the Wounded Warrior Project was there. Also, I can't remember a couple of the others that were there. There was only a few, but what we were able to do, and I'll show you some pictures here as well, was when the National Guard, we had, Steve, I think what was it, 20,000 guard members from all over the country come to Washington, D.C. to defend the Capitol. And January, D.C., if you're from here, it can be very cold, extremely cold, and it was cold, rainy, and snowy. We were able to, as you can see some pictures here as well, we were able to go in there to the DC Guard on Capitol Hill when everything was fenced off and closed off, and provide them with meals, hot meals. We were there every day for 30 days, serving lunch and serving dinner, bringing in toiletries, you name it, we were there doing it. And we were only able to do that because it was such a huge, just a huge undertaking to try to bring in these guys. And Steve, talk about how, also, if you want to talk about how they were given a moment's notice. They've come from Guam, Hawaii, California, all over, and they didn't have what they needed because they were told, get on the plane right away. So I'm going to let you talk about that, because that was a great experience, not only for us personally, but for what we were able to do for the guardsmen, the soldiers, and the airmen that were here, 20,000 strong.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'd be glad to. Yeah, this was an absolute huge undertaking. These soldiers, these Air National Guardsmen and National Guardsmen, were told at a moment's notice to pack up a couple days worth of supplies and head on a plane, and you're going to DC to to help protect the Capitol because of the events that are unfolding. And they literally showed up, as John mentioned, they showed up from Guam and Puerto Rico and Virgin. They come from way across the country, and most of them are from warm climates. And guess what they brought with them? T-shirts, and they didn't have jackets and everything. And I'll never forget, John, one of the things that they asked for was socks. They all wanted thermal socks, to keep warm. And don't forget, as John mentioned earlier on, it was freezing cold temperatures. They were on guard, sometimes with 15, 16-hour shifts outside with little to no relief. And people were basically spread thin. And they would actually line up, as you can see the pictures here on the screen. These were bags of Chick-fil-A. We had honey baked ham. We had volunteers actually coming through, and these soldiers, you should see them. I mean, a lot of them had the mask on, but one of these young ladies said, "There's a smile right now through my mask." I'm just so happy. I'm so energized to see that. This was a huge morale booster for these soldiers. They were pulled at a moment's notice, away from their job, away from their families. They're your typical community leaders. They're your teachers, your doctors, your lawyers, your police officers, firefighters, your regular blue collar workers in your local community, your National Guardsmen. And they just lined up, and they were like, a lot of them came back, for seconds, and hey, I want another chocolate chip cookie. And of course, we would give them another chocolate chip cookie if they wanted another chocolate chip cookie. And they said, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. I said, because you are making the ultimate sacrifice right now on you're wearing that uniform, you're serving our country. And I can't tell you the energy that giving a simple meal, or nobody was really in a bad mood. They were just like there to serve. They were happy to be there. they were engaged. They didn't complain about being on a 12 to 15-hour shift. And I talked directly, we had direct communication with the leadership there up to the the adjunct general of the National Guard Bureau, and the vibe was mostly positive from these folks, men and women. Come to serve to the Capitol at a moment's notice. They get that call, and they're there, and it was just something else to see. And there were approximately, John, there was over 25,000 National Guardsmen that were actually sent there, from all across the country. And me being a National Guardsman, definitely engaged with them, to learn more about them on more of a personal level. They're there to serve, and I wanted to get to kind of know them a little bit. And we had a great opportunity to meet some fine, soldiers and airmen from across the National Guard. And they were just so thankful for seeing us there. And they had asked, major, the major there that's in charge of the family readiness program coordinator for DC. They were like, "Hey, are we getting Chick-fil-A today, or what's the meal of the day?" And they would just line up. Those lines would be long, but we would make those lines short in a second. We would get them what they need, and off they go. Hundreds that were in line. We even had our mascot Chelsea here earlier on. You saw with John to provide some support for him there. So, but yes, this was not an easy operation at all. They were told to go there at a moment's notice. The military is a lot of hurry up and wait. I can tell you that. I'm in the military. They didn't get a lot of the supplies that they needed right away. The logistics were very slow. We were very slow to get the troops exactly what they needed. And we recognized that. You saw on the news that a lot of the troops were, sleeping outside or sleeping on the floor in those kind of harsh conditions. And we reacted to that. We saw that they needed assistance. And like I said, it is our duty to help them out. And that's exactly what we did is we helped. As John mentioned, we didn't just help with the food part of it as well. We helped with the toiletry items that they needed. They would show up with a little small tube of toothpaste, or they wouldn't show up with enough shaving cream. We had all of those essentials readily for them right there, to give out, and we were there to support them. And they just couldn't appreciate it enough. And they were very, very thankful for us being there every step of the way for them. And their eyes would just light up, when they saw us come back in there again. And they just couldn't thank us enough simply for what we did. So, thank you, John.
It was amazing. No, it was an amazing opportunity to serve them too. I mean, one thing I think I'll take away from it was when they came in off the 12-hour shifts of being outside in the cold and freezing cold, wearing their gloves and whatnot. When we were handing them a hot meal, and even though this was during COVID, we're handing them a hot meal, it's wrapped up. The first thing I felt emanating, it was like their hand was here, and I could feel the cold just emanating from their hand. It was like freezing, that they had been out there so long, 10, 12-hour shifts, that their hands were like their bodies were just, just frozen. And like you said, they didn't complain. I didn't hear one complaint. All I heard was, "Thank you, we appreciate you." That's all they said. "We appreciate you being here." And I remember I think the first day we were called in, and again, all this was available because of one single donor who stepped up. She saw the news where they were sleeping on the hard, cold floor of the Capitol building. And called out of the blue and said, "Hey, I want to make this donation so that you guys can get in there and take care of them and get them hot meals, get them coffee, get them whatever they needed, and toiletries." And because of her, we were able to do that. And we served, I don't know, 9,000 meals, I think. Something in the neighborhood of over maybe $40,000 worth of toiletries and socks every day. Truckloads went in there. And we really exasperated all of our volunteers, but thankfully we got some terrific volunteers. You can see one here in his red sweatshirt. That's Josh Hanse. He's actually a Lance Corporal stationed at the 8th and 9th here in DC. Josh was there every day, every night when he was off duty, and or to the White House Communications Office. So he himself had very long shifts to deal with, and instead of going back to his barracks and getting some shut-eye, he came out and just see him right there. And a lot of the Marines, we can thank a lot of those Marines. We even served Port Belvoir because we had a couple of units, Army units that were stationed at Port Belvoir that had come in. Steve, you actually brought him breakfast, hot breakfast a couple of times, you know. So we were grateful to that particular donor. She stepped up and made an impact. She allowed us to really make an impact. So I just can't thank her enough. So yeah, what an amazing experience that was for a month, you know. So with that, I guess we'll go on. Yeah, that's some of the stuff that we do. We try to fill in, you know, where needed. So some of the other programs that we have also, one also that we have is, which has become very popular right now, is our Operation Christmas Cards for our troops. And let me see if I can get Steve back here again. I think I knocked Steve back out again. Yeah, one of them, I think we did, pretty sure it was 88,000 last year. I think, Steve. Let me see if I can get Steve back on here again. Here he is. Let's see here. He should be back here. Okay. What was it? About 88,000 cards last year. Christmas cards we received from all over the country, and we had. It's tremendous. And I think this will be our third or fourth year doing it. I can't remember. But we have to open each and every card. By the way. For security reasons. And we have to read them, because sometimes, once in a great while, you get somebody that'll send a pretty nasty message. We don't want that getting over to the troops overseas. So, you know, we're grateful to everybody. We've already started getting emails from schools and organizations and churches and people all over the country. Hey, we're sending in Christmas cards this year. So we have a sign-up sheet on our website so we know what to expect this year. Steve's family, his kids, they were opening cards and reading them. And so we package them all back up again and ship them to Japan, Korea. Last year was Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait. So yeah, the Christmas cards for our troops are, yeah, it's a tremendous program. It takes a lot of work, especially at Christmas when everybody's already busy. We end up with, you know, tens of thousands of Christmas cards that we have to process. So if you're in the DC area, you want to get the Christmas spirit, come join us. We need as much help as possible. I'm sure 88,000 will probably turn into about that number, probably more this year. So again, go to our website. It's right down here. USASOA.org. It's up here in the corner. Go to programs and services, scroll down, and you'll see that. So, but please do email us. There's a sign-up sheet. Let us know what you're doing, how many you're sending, so that we know as well. One thing I think we skipped over, Steve. Let's see if I can get it in here. I'm going to try my best. Should I get rid of that first? Here we go. We talked about our program, our homeless veterans outreach program. This is one of the signs that we made during COVID. And actually, we talked about Josh. He's a Lance Corporal, Marine Corporal stationed at the 8th and 9th. We made this sign of Mother Marines that down here. That was our response to COVID. That drive up food drives, so that we were respecting all CDC guidelines, keeping our volunteers safe, keeping the donors safe. They drive up, roll down the window, and give us their food, roll the window back up, and take off. And what a tremendous experience that was as well. So I thought I'd just share that real quick with you, and just give Anze pat on the back there. And then I think the other thing that we did discuss when we were talking about our suicide prevention program, I think I can bring that up here. I hope everyone can hear this. This was during Memorial Day weekend, when everyone is celebrating what they call the beginning of summer. You know, it's really not that. It about honoring and respecting those who made the ultimate sacrifice for those who died in service. And so as a nation, I think we do have to get back to the sound reason why we have that holiday. And on that Monday night, we're going to do this every year. That Monday night, we held a memorial service for veterans that committed suicide because they're so overlooked, and their families are also overlooked. And we just think that, they also need to find closure. They need to have the support of not only the American people, but their friends and the military and other veterans as well. So that Monday night, while people were coming home from the beach, we held a memorial service. And again, we talked about Father Brian, and you'll actually see PBS for covering it. And this video that you're about to see is actually the video that CBS showed on their air of the event of the memorial service for veterans who committed suicide. So let me go ahead and see if I can get that going, and if you can hear it also as well. So let me play that for you.
We've come to ask for God's mercy, to have mercy on us, to have mercy on those who've committed suicide in these circumstances, mercy on us, mercy on them, and mercy on the whole world. I simply want to say thank you again for taking the time that you guys have taken tonight to be with us on this particular topic of active duty and veteran suicide in the military. There are so many ways a traumatic event like suicide can knock us off kilter. There's first of all that suddenness, the suddenness. In circumstances like that, I think we can begin to think about the graces that come with someone who actually takes a long time to die. We have time to think, have time to repair, time to say goodbye, time to kind of make our peace if there's a need for reconciliation. But unfortunately, there's no such grace in suicide. It's just there. But then to add other layers, you feel guilty. Guilty that you didn't see it coming. Guilty that you didn't take the threats seriously enough. Guilty that you weren't there to stop it. Guilty that somehow you were powerless to stop it. Helplessness, despair, guilt, anger, grief. What makes suicide so difficult is that how do you forgive the killer when the killer is also the victim? I like describing death as a terrible thief who comes and steals the ones that we love. There is no part of your experience of the suicide of the one that you loved that is too big for Jesus. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We'll now have a presentation of the names of those who have committed suicide.
From the tens of thousands that have taken their own life, we will read 22 names in honor of the 22 who on average take their own life every day. The first name, Pamela Wilby. James Brady. Jeff Davis. Henry Campbell. Allison Kimberly. Kirkland Whitmire. Matthew McCarthy. Robbie Matthews. Deanna Orleano. Janice Victor Lutz. Brandon Caserta. Ashley Jackson. Daniela Carver. Eric Howard. Scott Dussel. Jefferson Brown. Rudy Hewitt. Jeremy Sears. Justin Price. Ivan Lugo. Reggie Strand. And to all their souls known to God alone. it's on all of us, you know, whether we're friends of.
Yeah, that was quite an experience. I think it's over. So yeah, that was what CBS recorded and showed on Channel 9, I believe, in DC area. So yeah, it was quite an emotional story. And again, we're going to do that every year. So but to go on, so we talked about Reboot. We also talked about that we have our suicide prevention program, our homeless veterans outreach program, Christmas cards for our troops. We have several other programs and services that I just encourage everybody to go to our website, USASOA.org, and take a look and see what it is we do. We've actually helped bury a veteran who died without next of kin. So, I was contacted by a neighbor of a vet who died, and he was actually at the Maryland Anatomy Board. And so we were able to bring his body back and give him a dignified burial at a veteran cemetery. So there's a lot we do that, and again, we say, deals with the human nature of the individual, and things where people are in critical need, and almost about to give up. So we want to grab them at that point and say, hey, no, there is hope. There's people that care about you. If we can't help you, we're going to find an organization that does, especially, again, working with other organizations, DAV, fantastic. Again, so many organizations that are out there that can help as well. If we don't do something, we'll find somebody, that can do something. So we're just really grateful to be going into our ninth year now. We couldn't, like Steve said, we couldn't possibly do it without, the gracious donors that we have, businesses. I want to thank PayPal, number one, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, their foundation supports us as well. So many that you can't even begin to, list them all. But again, learn what we do. If you're a local volunteer, if you're not, that's okay. If you see any of the programs, especially our boots on the ground, that you would like to do in your hometown or in your community, give us a call. Let us know. We'll be more than happy to set that up for you and make a connection with your local VA so that whatever it is you're doing will actually benefit veterans. Instead of you giving $20 or giving $30, whatever it is you give, and kind of don't know where it's going, you're kind of hoping that there's good, being used for the good, which for the most part, when you do that, it is. These organizations are terrific, so don't stop doing that. But if you want to actually if you're not involved with an organization and you want to have, that kind of a direct connection where you're collecting food, toiletries, clothing, and actually taking it to someone, I think you'll find really a greater sense of purpose and belonging, and really a sense of self-satisfaction. And that's what we try to bring to the veterans we meet on the streets or in transactional housing units, or wherever they are. Whether they're having whether they have PTSD or they're having other issues. We want to be there for them, and sometimes, that's all it takes is what we call do a buddy check, just to call them up. If you know that, call that. Call service. Hey, how are you doing? There used to be a time that they said that we used to ring each other's doorbells. Now we go to our pages. We got to get back to being, social creatures again. Technology is good. Technology makes things easier for us, allows us to communicate, but it doesn't make it better. The only thing that makes it better is if you're there for someone. and being there in the physical person. That's what really matters, and that's what we're about. That's our grassroots programs. Every one of them is founded on the fact that we're making that human connection. Even through COVID, we made the human connection work, and we're going to continue to do that. But we need all of you, to investigate what we do. Look at what we do. See if there's a way you can help. So I'm gonna actually let Steve say a few more things, and I'm gonna kind of embarrass Steve here for a second, but here he is at one of our boots on the ground food drives at Giant Food Store in Annapolis. This was taken a couple years ago, I guess, Steve. Can you see that? And that's Mary in the background, one of our great volunteers too. And this was, again, pre-COVID. And again, this is where we set up a table in front of Giant Food. And you can do this at any food store. They'll let you do it. Just hand them a card, hand the customers a card. And once they see the flag and, the sign and all that, they'll come over to you anyway and say, hey, if you can buy one of these items, and it's usually, $2, $3, a can of tuna, a can of soup, whatever it might be, drop it off on your way out to this table, and we take it to, the homeless shelters, to transitional units, and we go to the streets and find vets and feed them with it. So, you can't do any better than that. Steve is really good at it. All our volunteers are. So you can do that anywhere you are. You don't have to be here in the DC area, so we'll help you do that. What do you think, Steve?
No, that's a fantastic event. I've actually included my youngest son Quinn in it. When people see kids out there, they tend to kind of gravitate towards the kids and everything like that. It's just a great experience. Not just really just to have my son out there. The reason why I bring my son out there is to explain to him that there are a lot of we're very fortunate, our family, and there are a lot of less fortunate folks out there, and it's our duty to go out there and help people when they're in need. So that's why I include my family in there. My wife's a part of the organization, and as well as my 3 other children. We continually volunteer and help out at all different kinds of events that take place. We had a terrific event. John didn't talk about, he talked about a lot of programs. There's plenty of other programs to speak about, but we just had the terrific rooftop 4th of July celebration with a perfect view of the Capitol. And so a beautiful fireworks display that we hold every 4th of July. It was very short notice this year, but we got the rooftop opened up within 3 weeks of the event. So John put it all together and made it work. And it was a very successful event. And we look forward to doing that in the future with everybody. But please take the time to go to our website and look at our programs. And there is something for everybody to get involved in. From the, John was joking around about the Christmas cards, 88,000. I think there was probably maybe more than 88,000. I don't even remember. We literally lost count. We estimate that. Yeah. But, the boxes come in and I'll never forget when the postal man pulled up. He's like, "Oh, this is my last stop. All of these boxes are for you." And he loaded about 20 boxes off the UPS truck, and they were all Christmas cards, titled "Christmas Cards for Troops Program." So there, like I mentioned, folks, there is something for everybody. For volunteer for the boots on the ground, to doing the monthly food drives, to looking and helping at the Amazon Food Bank, to just any way you could possibly help with either volunteerism or your gracious donations. We know not a lot of people are able to donate, but every little bit helps, and we could all do our part to try to help combat, homeless, help out homelessness and veterans, and help them with the problem of them being, they're going to bed at night and not being able to eat, or worrying about the next day if they're going to get a meal. That shouldn't happen in our nation. We're too well off of a nation for that to happen. But like I said, we as an organization will continue to do that. As John mentioned earlier on, that's our grassroots. That's what we have in our blood, and what makes us tick, and how we're able to operate and help those out in need. So, but yes, so please go to our organization's website and find out how you can help. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, and you mentioned the Amazon food store or food pantry. That's great. I mean, if you go there, you can actually buy, I think, tuna for $1 $1.99 a 3-pack. But there's ready-to-eat meals there for $1.99. So send it Prime, won't cost you anything to do that other than the price of the item, and then it's delivered directly to VA homeless shelter. And the one in particular in DC, in Northeast Washington, DC, veterans can come into the lobby, and if they have these ready-to-eat meals, I think Hormel makes something. You get like beef stew or chicken or something like that. They have a microwave there, and they microwave it, and the vet's eating. So I don't know how you can have more direct impact than that. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking to feed a hungry vet, how else are you going to do that? You know, I mean, that you can't get any. I don't know. You can't get any more direct unless there's something I'm missing. I don't know, Steve. If I'm missing something, let me know. But I think that's a pretty good way to ensure that hungry vets eat. And that facility is really pretty fantastic because they can now, I think it's opened back up now that the restrictions have been lifted. But they can go in there. There's shower facilities there. There's also the internet. They have computers there. They have washing machines, dryers. They can do clothes. They have social work sitting right there. And to help get them what they need, to help with vouchers that they can get from the VA if they qualify. So there's a lot of resources. But the fact that we're bringing in food, toiletries, things like that they can have, and it really does, when you put something like that into someone's hands that has lost all hope, all dignity, you want to give them a sense of, hey, we care about you, but you're another human being. You served our country, number one. You sacrificed, whatever your sacrifice was at that point. We don't know what happened to you, but that's irrelevant to us. What we want to do is help you. We want to give you a hand up, and that's one way to show somebody you care is to feed them, or to give them a place to sleep, give them clothes, restore their dignity that way, and I think that goes a long way in sparking something within that person. Hey, if that person cares enough about me, maybe I should start, doing something on my own or getting the help I need. Because you don't know what someone's going through. You have no idea when you meet somebody what they're actually going through. So be kind. Don't dismiss them. Think they're drunks or drugs or things like that. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be absolutely wrong. Whether this was a service-related trauma, psychological trauma, or combat-related trauma, we just don't know. And it's not for us to judge them. It's for us to take care of them. So that's very important. So anyway, Steve, it is now 9:39. I think we've done a pretty good job. I want to thank everybody who's still listening to us. We're going to do this more frequently, probably repeat ourselves. That's okay. That's the only way to get the message out is through repetition, right? And so we hope you found it useful. We'll replay this on Instagram because they don't allow you to connect somehow. They don't allow you to do that with this platform, but it did go out on our YouTube channel and also with LinkedIn. So it's pretty long, I think, here, but we'll keep it shorter next time. This was our first time, so I think we did all right, Steve? What do you think? You have to ask Quinn. This time, Quinn. How old's Quinn? He's what, 6?
Yeah, he's going on 15.
Yeah, he is. That's what I was getting at. I was alluding to that. Yeah, he'll tell you straight up. It's like talking to an adult. He really will. He'll tell you where the cheapest food is. He's a great little boy. But yeah, he's a great kid. But I want to thank everybody. And Steve brings all the kids out to this Saturday. We'll be doing care packages for homeless vets in our office in DC, and then taking them to the streets, going to the transitional housing and to the homeless shelters. And Steve will have his kids, the military children. We expect other volunteers to bring their children to show them what it means to give back. Steve and Kelly, they do a great job with their children. A next generation of American citizens and maybe service members, we don't know. Hopefully we'll get one of them. You got 4, so maybe one. And to show them what it means to be an American by giving back and what charity means, and to take care of people less fortunate than ourselves, especially when they're our own people, and especially our veterans who deserve our care and support. And again, we don't judge them. We don't. That's not what we do. That's not what anybody should be doing. You just don't know what somebody's going through. And whenever you meet someone, just be kind to them, help them when you can. You don't dismiss them because, you know, the old adage was, except for the grace of God, there go I. Karma's horrible, you know. That's all I gotta say. So, you know, be grateful for what you have and share what you have. You know, it takes very little to share. If everybody shared a little bit, we wouldn't need to be on here. We wouldn't have to have this organization. So we just want to, you know, thank everybody who does volunteer. You know, we're all volunteers. Our staff, our board of directors. None of us get paid. We do this. This is my second full-time job. It's quickly become Steve's third. That's full-time job. That's a full-time job. Service in the Air Force. So this is quickly becoming his third full-time job. And so I'm grateful to have Steve as our chair of board of directors on our organization. For all he's done in the past, going to Walter Reed, cleaning out grills. Because we have, oh, that's another one, barbecue for our heroes. We've been doing that since 2015. Every summer we go up there the summer months and put on a barbecue. And we started, I think, 2014 or 15, and grill outside, traditional barbecue with all the fixings and everything. And it was great. And so thankfully we don't have the number of vets or service members rather coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with horrible injuries, amputations and things like that. We were there. Our organization was there through all that, and we served them. We would take food up to their rooms. We served them, you know, hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken, watermelon, whatever we had. And terrific volunteer, Mary, she was always there. She was a trauma nurse and one of our best volunteers. God love her. And she put on the whole show. And we cleaned grills, and I'm telling you, we made a weekend of it for sure. But the gratitude on their face to have us there, because a lot of these guys and gals, they're thousands of miles away from home, you know, at Walter Reed. And they come from working class families for the most part. People just don't have the money to get on an airplane. If you're in, you know, Nebraska, how are you going to get to DC? You know, they're driving. Can you do that? You have to work. So their families weren't around. So in some way, we're providing that sort of comfort as well as food to them. And we take deliveries and things and snacks and give it to them as well. And so it was a very uplifting thing to do. And I know they appreciated it tremendously, having us there. And I'll never forget that. So, yeah, thankfully we don't have that right now, but we still have wounded that are there, still undergoing surgeries. We still have our ill, injured, wounded. So we still do that, not as frequently as, and of course, with COVID. We're hoping to get back to it, but yeah. So you'll see all that, you know, in our social media feeds and on our website as well. Please go to our website. You know, volunteer. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. You can volunteer. It set you up wherever you are, and you too can feel good about, you know, really impacting their lives. So again, let's get out of here, Steve. You want to say anything last before we go? And see about getting out of here and getting on with the evening. And then again, we'll be doing this again in a couple of days, and when Steve has some time. And do you want to finish out, Steve, and say anything, and we'll close this out?
Yeah, hey, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Possibly, maybe in the future, what we might do is a little bit abbreviated, condensed version of this. Maybe focus on particular programs that we have. You know, we do so much, and really, we honestly didn't get everything that we actually do in tonight, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So perhaps what we could do is a condensed version of describe, go into detail specifically about each program that we actually do, so that you can learn more, so that you can see where you might want to help in at, like as John mentioned, that you can do these food drives no matter where you are across the country. You can actually put this on. So please, like we alluded to earlier, please go to our page and see how you can help out if you'd like to do so. Thank you for tuning in this evening.
All right, folks. Thank you very much, and we appreciate taking the time to spend with us this evening. And we'll be back again. Like Steve said, we'll do a more segmented version of this. It's our first time, so with this new platform, seems to be working now. I hope it is. I'm sure if it's not. So thanks everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.